Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who have just joined us, this is the MAI Bangkok Business Challenge at SAS in 2014. We have 6 finalists presenting today, and 3 of them have already presented. And we are now going to welcome our 4th finalist, Team Vikaas from INSEAD, Singapore. Please give them a big hand. So let me remind the team, you have 30 minutes to make your presentations, during which the judges may ask questions at any time after 5 full minutes have passed. And judging from previous presentations, they will ask a lot of questions, okay? So the team will receive 3 time notifications, 1 after the 5 minutes to allow the fully interactive session, and then 3 and 1 minute before the end. Please keep an eye on the 2 timing ladies in the front, okay? So, the team, are you ready? Judges, yes, okay? So we're going to start as soon as you start. Good luck.
So before we begin, we'd like to show you a short video that portrays the vision of Vikaas. So Vikaas is a solar distribution model that aims to target the bottom of the pyramid by replacing kerosene lamps with solar lamps. With Chen, Adya, I will take you through the Vikaas model. Now you must be wondering, why hasn't this replacement of kerosene lamp with solar lamps been done on a large scale already? We recognize 2 main roadblocks. First of all, accessibility. Rural areas in India are so far out that it is hard to access them through conventional methods. Secondly, affordability. Solar lamps cost $20 upfront, which means it is hard for our target market to afford them, who only live on $25 per month for their livelihood. This means there are 100 million households in India alone who rely on kerosene lamps. Now these lamps are dim, they reduce indoor air quality, cause frequent fires, and cost $20 per year to keep constantly fueled. So, what is the solution? The Vikaas is a distribution model that relies on 3 key partnerships. First of all, our partnership with D-Light, who are the solar lamp manufacturer. They will supply us solar lanterns at $8.50, which we will be selling to rural individuals for $20, allowing us to make a profit of 57.5%. Another partnership with NGOs. We will be piggybacking on already existing NGOs who have a stronghold in the local area. They will help us identify the target regions, as well as individuals who will be hired by us as village-level entrepreneurs and workers to distribute solar lamps to end customers. And lastly, our partnership with microfinance institutions. They will loan $20 to the end customer when they want to buy a solar lamp. The end customer will pay $1 per month to the microfinance institution at 12% over 24 months. This is the product that we will be using. It's D-Light S20. It is a basic solar lamp with many favorable features, such as over 5 years of lifetime. But the one feature that I want to draw your attention towards is the last one. Solar lamp is 30 lumens as compared to the 10 lumen of a kerosene lamp, which means it is 3 times brighter. And in this photo, you can see the impact that it can have. In the second photo, the child is actually using a D-Light S20. So just to take you through the visual representation of the model, like I mentioned, D-Light will supply solar lanterns to us, and we pay $8.50 to them. These lanterns are then distributed by us to the VLEs and VLWs in local villages, who will then distribute these lanterns to the end customers who want to buy it. Every time a customer wants to buy a solar lantern, the microfinance bank will give us $20 for that lantern, and between the end customer and microfinance bank, $1 per month will go to the MFI from the end customer. Now over to Adya, who will talk us through the marketing strategies of the plan.
For this elaborate national rollout, we actually have a very elaborate marketing plan in place as well. We've identified 3 key parties we have to target through our marketing plan. The first one is the households themselves. We have to educate the households on the benefits of a solar lamp vis-a-vis a kerosene lamp. So we will hire VLEs and VLWs from within the village. They will be your friendly neighbors who will educate you on the benefits of having a solar lamp as opposed to a kerosene lamp. Apart from this, we also have referral programs where if you like the lamp and you recommend the lamp to your friends and family, we will give you a financial incentive in return. We will also buy back the existing kerosene lamps with households at $1, giving them a financial incentive to actually turn from solar lamps.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I sorry to disturb you, but I went on my iPad and I looked on Amazon and I found a solar lamp called D-Light, this exact one on Amazon, which is great. There's 2 things. The first one, it's selling at $18.99 or something in America. And I'm just thinking about rural India. Why would it be even a higher price, or why wouldn't it be, how could they possibly afford it? That's the first thing. The second thing is that there is a lot of great reviews on this product, which I would say is good news. But there's one that said that the product breaks down and it only lasts for 1 or 2 months. Now that's a small number. Most of them are good reviews. But I'd like you to talk to us, first of all, about how you could bring this price down, number 1. And number 2, how are you assured that quality will be good?
Okay. So this question actually came up to us several times in the past presentations as well. And we did do research and consider lowering the price. But based on our model, if we want to scale up after the pilot run of the first 6 months, it is difficult for us financially to scale up if we charge a price lower than this. I know it seems like we are making a profit off the rural individuals, but the point is we are offering them this installment scheme and creating relationships, and we do hope to come back with a broader product portfolio.
So let me ask you, where is the product made?
It's made in China.
Why not made in India?
The manufacturing facility for D-Light, as we know, is in China.
I feel that your business is like social enterprise.
Yes, it is.
And then people can copy. So how can you make this business sustainable? Maybe one day D-Light might take over. They don't need you if you start up already and they know how to do it.
Yes. So we've actually addressed this question further in the presentation. I'll just quickly move to that slide. So these are the risks and threats that we've identified. The first is obviously, like you mentioned, the risk of theft and shrinkage. We actually are going to pay the microfinance institution an upfront fee based on their past experience of defaults. So we are actually insuring our sales and the cost of the lamp with the microfinance institution. Secondly, securing credible partners. So we do have a partnership already existing with D-Light and with the NGOs who have a network in our pilot district, and we are in talks with microfinance institutions as well. The product acceptance. So what you mentioned was that D-Light, sorry, we'll go on to the expansion plan since your question was on. So our long-term plan was actually to offer D-Light equity. This is for 2 reasons: to ensure that we can partner with them for a longer period in the future, and also to ensure that they do not become our competition in the long run. That is one of the key solutions we have for ensuring that D-Light does not replicate this model. To your second point, this model does exist in India already, but it exists on a very small scale because these are small NGOs who function on a non-profit basis. So we are the first profit-making entity to actually carry this out.
Can I ask a question? So you talked about financing. So when the person buys this at $20, that's including the 12% 4% or so, or that's an additional charge that they're going to pay to the microfinance?
No, it's additional. It's 22.4.
So then the total cost to them, they're going to finance it over a year?
2 years.
2 years, okay. So then that's going to be the additional, so it's actually for an average American who has a salary average of 30,000 US dollars, they're going to pay $18. But for the average rural person who has absolutely no money, they're going to pay 22 and a half or 23 or something. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely, that's correct. And the reason we have to do this is because of our partnership with microfinance banks. They will, the way it functions in India at the moment, this is a very low rate of interest, and we could not possibly go lower than that, because that would actually sabotage our partnership with them. So there was a trade-off between whether we want to benefit these rural individuals, or whether we want to offer them nothing just because we can't give them the same thing for $18. And we chose to, give them a higher price, but over a period of time, so that it actually does not hurt their pocket in the first go.
If I came back to you and said I would like to invest in this business because I think it's good and I think it's a good concept, but I think that we have to find a way to get the price down to 12 or 15. Is there any way to do that?
Yes, of course. So first, I'd like to address the question. So the people in India, so they currently don't have the access to the lamp. So the first top priority for them is to get access. So we are currently, as a startup, we are currently aiming to bring them the lamp. And this is the first thing that we need to consider. So in order to bring them the access, we need a huge investment in the very front. This
Excuse me, but that's not entirely what you say in your business, in the business case here. Isn't the fact that they currently have kerosene lamps, and they currently have an expenditure of around $2 a month for the kerosene lamps, and what you're offering them is to bring that down to $1. Isn't that the answer you should be giving? Or because actually it seems that they have such a small economy that it's the monthly expenditure that is the key here, and not necessarily the price?
Yes. So the first is about the decrease in the monthly payment, and the second is about the ownership of the product. So for the solar lamp, so after our customer they paid 24 months, they can permanently own the product, which can its lifespan can last for at least 5 years. And the third is about the environmental benefit. So as we have mentioned before, yeah. So let me continue with
No, you're not continuing. You did not answer Mr. Stotz's question.
I was just going to go
but
there.
I want to build on his question.
Yeah.
He said he went on Amazon and found one person in America who felt the product didn't work. But in your business plan, you specifically said, through market research, we have found that rural consumers use solar products in a way that compromise their performance and damage it. And you say that once the lamp is damaged, they won't pay the monthly fee. So how are you going to address that? And don't answer education, because we all know Indian rural villagers are not very good to be educated and are incredibly conservative.
Okay. Just to go to Mr. Stoll's question first, we do have some long-term plans to reduce the costs in the long term, not in the short term, because like I mentioned, to achieve the scale that we want to achieve, based on our calculations, the cost of $20 along with 12% interest is the ideal cost to achieve the scale we want to. There are plans of expanding to higher income groups. Rajasthan is one of the poorest states in India right now. If we move to states with a higher income group like Maharashtra, these people can actually pay an upfront cost, a one-time payment, as opposed to the installments. And if we achieve enough scale, we can reduce the prices for those customers in the future. Another option is also to partner with the government. The government offers subsidies on kerosene lamps. We haven't explored that option yet, but we will when we go back to India after our MBA. And if that subsidy can be offered, we can lower the price substantially for these customers.
But again, coming back to what I said before, if I were you and I was trying to sell this in the village, I must admit I would sell it in a totally different way. I would say to them, how much do you pay per month now for your kerosene lamp? I pay $2 every single month, year in, year out. And I say to them, good, I can lower that to $1. You get a lamp that's 3 times better, it has a 2-year warranty, and you pay half for 2 years. After that, if you take care of your lamp, you have it for free. You don't pay anything.
Yes.
Do you like that? Everything else you say seems overly complicated compared to that sales.
Can I?
So,
Okay.
Really eager to answer your questions. So one of the main So what you mentioned is one of the main parts of our marketing strategies, and that's exactly how we will approach them, by making them compare what they spend on kerosene at the moment as compared to what they will be spending on solar lamps after the switch.
I do have 6 key points we will highlight to the villagers. We are not going to them with a complicated financial model. We are going to them with a very simple 6-point scheme, the first of which is cost effectiveness. Right now they spend almost $125 over 5 years. We are bringing that down to $25 approximately over 2 years. We need to communicate that to them well. Secondly, utility. Right now they buy kerosene on the black market because the government subsidized kerosene runs out in stores after a while. So we will actually get them the solar lantern with their neighbor. They can walk up to their neighbor, buy the solar lamp, and that will reduce their traveling time as well. Thirdly, safety. About 1.6 million people are killed in India every year due to kerosene-related incidents. I am not saying that we're doing away with this. This will still continue to exist, but we can bring it down through introducing solar lamps. We also have employment. Vikaas will employ rural people within the village as its village-level entrepreneurs and workers, and thereby encouraging growth within the village. Along with that, Mastak mentioned the brightness aspect. We will also partner with the local gram panchayats. So if influential people and village elders buy into this, we can actually get the lower level, the lower income or the lower influence people to buy into this scheme as well.
Okay.
That's how we will approach them.
I have a few comments, and I would like to hear your response. When you talk about $2 a month, okay, for kerosene, that includes the cooking element. It's not for the lighting.
Yes.
Lighting for 4 hours a day
Yes.
could be maybe a fraction of that.
Yes.
Okay, so you cannot compare that with the cost of the light. That's one point. The other thing is about your revenue. Okay, it seems to me that the profit, the net margin, is quite small. All right. Having said that, okay, when I look at you have 2 elements there, 2 partners. One is Delight, the second is microfinance. I look at the website of MFI in India. The average loan outstanding of the people in India that use microfinancing is about 300 US, yeah. or 3,000 rupees, I'm sorry. Okay. But you are talking about 25 rupees, yes. or 25 US dollar, whatever, yes. all right? I don't think it justifies the transaction cost of the microfinancing people to do that, okay? Third, okay, you talk about 20,000 units to be sold, right? And you talk about how many number of VLE or VLW, right? Mm-hmm. So I have applied that number to the number of units sold. Surprisingly, the one VLE village level entrepreneur has to handle 3,300 units, okay? Yeah. So I don't think that is possible for a person to handle that. And if you do that to the VLW level, the number is about the same. So that's, I just doubt whether your cost element is too low or not.
Can I take the first question and then I'll pass over? Your first question was on the cost. It's not just for the cooking. I mean, it's not just for the lighting, but the cooking as well. What we would like to communicate is that this cost of $25 is actually only for the lighting solution. It does not include the cooking cost. That is separate. So we are actually reducing only the lighting cost. We do recognize that that is only one aspect, but like I mentioned, if we can achieve scale in only this one product, we will expand to other products as well, and that will include solar stoves. Chen will go to the financial.
Yeah, so the 2 questions on the finance part. So one is about our partnership with microfinance institutions, and second is about our operating margin. Right. So first about microfinance institutions. So in the starting period, as we can see, we have a data slide here about we are actually paying the microfinance institution one time transaction fee in the very beginning to start the project. This actually serves two purposes. The first one is to mitigate the default risk, potential default risk, and we transfer the default risk to the microfinancial institutions who have the most expertise to deal with this risk. And the second is that we offer a very good starting period profit for these microfinance institutions to cooperate with us. And this also relates to my answer to your second question.
No. I'm not talking about risk. I'm talking about transaction costs for the microfinance people to handle the loans and to collect the money or whatever.
So the microfinance institution will only be handling the loan as far as the payment is concerned. It is the village level worker who will be going to visit the different households and working with them in order to assist them that, for example, their loan repayment is coming up. What we've experienced in India is that a lot of times rural individuals do not really understand the commitment that they're making to a microfinance institution. Probably the concept of a loan is not very clear to them. For this very reason, we've incorporated the role of village level worker, whose main job is going to be assisting individuals through the process of those 2 years until the point of complete ownership of the solar land.
Yeah, but they have to handle 1,650 loans per village worker. They can't do that.
So this is something we considered as well. And we are working with both village level entrepreneurs and workers. And there's a field sales officer involved as well. Although the total figures for households is very, very high, the targets we want to achieve are quite low in terms of the number of households there are. So the likelihood is that the entrepreneur and the workers will not actually have to travel to all the, sort of couple of thousands households there are. We will be able to achieve our target much before. And the idea is also, as we scale, we increase our team. The main sort of the founding stone of the Vikaas model is the people it works for. And if you look at our budget, the most important cost for us is the training and development and the salaries we pay to them. So there's no way we will ever compensate on or compromise on what we pay to them or the number of people we employ.
Can I just ask, entrepreneurs are a very rare breed. The percent of the population globally is a tiny number. And you're telling me there's all these entrepreneurs in villages. Well, entrepreneurs in rural areas tend to move to cities. So the first thing I question, trying to work with these people, I just find it hard to believe that you can do that. So that's the first thing, is I just question the whole contact model of this thing. In addition, you mentioned about having dedicated shops or something in villages, which, unless you have a lot of turnover, it's hard to support that. So my first thing is, I want to know your experience about this type of, these type of people and how you've worked with them or how somebody's worked with them before. And my second question is a little bit separate, but it's just the idea of, well, you guys are smart guys and gals. Why not just figure out how you could manufacture this at a lower price using technology that exists today in solar panels and all of that, and produce it and let's produce it and sell it at $12, and let's really make this thing go. So those are two separate questions, but go ahead.
So the first question about the contact or the way we work with different villages. So this idea was actually formulated by a very close family member of mine who's got experience of working with rural areas. So it's through him that we are able to forge these relationships, these strong relationships with NGOs. The NGO partnership for us is really, really key, because they are the ones who will identify and point out people who they have been working with already. And they know that these people have that entrepreneurial skills to make sure that they can educate, demonstrate the lanterns to individuals.
Just, when you bring up the words NGO, I just don't think about a business partner being an NGO. So can you just walk me through that? Because when I think about an NGO, I just think that they're not going to be a great business partner.
So the NGOs that we're working for are the ones that we have experience of working for before. What we realize is that for them, money is not really what drives them. It's the purpose of helping the individuals, and that's our purpose as well. From our talks we've had, they are equally passionate about this as we are, and I think that's the key to our plan, as opposed to how much profits we'll make, because NGOs are not really concerned about it.
Okay, so let's just go over to the manufacturing. Why not take your brains and experience and make something that beats what's being produced by a U.S. company in Silicon Valley that's investing in manufacturing in China and then shipping to India?
So if we take a look at this value chain, actually product is not the one of the advantage. So actually the solar lantern, solar light is not the cutting edge technology. So when we pitch to our investors, just imagine you guys, if I ask you to invest on a manufacturing plant of a solar light with low cost currently, but the cost might have been going in the future stage. That does not work. So our key advantage here is our business model and our distribution capability, and especially our founders' connection in the industry. For example, in our latest slides, the Mastak is going to talk about his family connections in this industry and with different organizations in India. So I think that we should leverage our advantage, and we should go with a light asset model, which is more preferred by the outside investors.
So I'm going to note that we still don't have an answer to the question asked some time ago about damage to the lamps and non-payment of funding. But if you don't want to answer it, that's fine.
Yeah, I can answer that if you give me some time. Yeah. So as to the damage of the light, so we have two solutions. So the first is that actually the damage of the light sometimes results from the inappropriate use of the light. So which in this area we put much education. We have budgeted much education expense to help educate the rural Indians about this, to educate them about how to properly use the light. And the second solution is that even if the light is damaged and maybe some customers, they are not willing to pay. So first of all, we have budgeted the default risk, as I mentioned earlier, to pay an upfront fee to the microfinance institution to let them handle the risk. And second, that we have a very interesting statistics. It talks about the gender issue. So sometimes we have identified a marketing strategy that we try to sign contract with the woman, with the wife of the family. So this can significantly reduce the risk of the default.
I'm going to ask or make a social class comment, which I hope does not insult anybody, so I apologize in advance. You two are Indian ladies with MBAs from INSEAD, very educated, very well dressed. Are you planning on moving to the villages and running this? And tell us about that.
So, we've been asked this question quite a few times, and I'm sure it's not a surprise to you because this does come up, and we have thought about it in detail. Both Adi and I have roots in rural villages, so I come from a small village called Handaya in Punjab, which, ever since I can remember, is still a village. So we are very well aware of the challenges we will be facing. It's not going to be surprising to us. We know exactly what we are stepping into. Secondly, like I mentioned before, there are two aspects. First of all, even though we are taking a financial hit in the first 2 years, the scalability of the project will help us compensate for that in the future years. And secondly, we are really hoping to leverage the connections and the network we have in India, which will help us make sure that this project scales as soon as possible and allow us to sort of have a lifestyle that is in sync with our dress
which
sense
I think
and
is not a bad answer. Okay, now the next question is that you're asking us to put in money, and we're here to make money, although we like your social contribution. Can you please review the money that we're going to make, how we're going to make it, how much we're going to make, how we're going to exit it, that type of thing?
Yeah, we just have 3 minutes to go. So start with how much money do you want, and what percentage of the company are you going to give up, and how are we going to get our money out?
Okay, so with our budget plans, so in the very beginning, so we are asking for really little money. So we are in order to demonstrate our commitment to the project, in the pilot phase, the equity will come from the personal savings of us founders, and starting from phase 2, since we can achieve the positive operating margin, that as you can see the number, we are going to the outside investors to ask for roughly about $160,000, and among which we have actually talked to several potential investors, and one investor has already committed to almost 40% of this capital. So the one thing about our business model is that.
So what percentage of the company are you giving up for the $160,000?
Do you mean the corporate value, or do you mean the investment return?
We were thinking anything between 10 and 30%. depending on how much capital we are able to raise from our angel network in India, who we are already in talks with, and how much capital we can raise from outside.
Okay, so if you want $150,000 and you're giving up 10 to 30%, that's about a $1 million valuation, rough numbers. So why is your company worth $1 million today?
Yeah, so that is the key of our model. So the scalability really matters. If you just take maybe a 2 or 3 stage analysis for the short-term operating period for our company, then it is really relatively speaking small value. But if you take a long-term, take a 5 to 10 years budget plan, just like the data I've showed, we have increased significantly both in terms of the absolute number and the percentage number. So I think the scalability also will play a key role in achieving our financial target.
So, so the last thing I want to say is that there are 3 themes that are really important to us. First is scalability. Our model depends on scale, and that will happen because we have strong connections in India. Second is profitability, as Chen has very well spoken to you about our elaborate financial plan. And the last and most important thing to us is sustainability. By the end of the day, we are social entrepreneurs who've come up with a plan which is profit generating, and that is the most important thing to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Team Vikaas from India. So we're going to take a short break.
เอาละค่ะคุณผู้ชมคะเราได้ฟังกันไปแล้วนะคะสำหรับนิสิตนักศึกษากลุ่มที่4ค่ะกลุ่มนี้นะคะจากมหาวิทยาลัยอินเซียดประเทศสิงคโปร์ค่ะนำเสนอนะคะใช้ชื่อว่า Vikaas นะคะซึ่งก็เป็นการเหมือนคล้ายๆนำโคมไฟค่ะจากพลังงานแสงอาทิตย์มาใช้แทนพลังงานที่ใช้กับน้ำมันก๊าซเคโรซีนใช่ไหมคะอันนี้ถึงความเป็นไปได้ในแง่ของทางธุรกิจในแง่นี้มองอย่างไรบ้างคะคุณแพรคะ
แปลว่าตอนที่แพรเห็นแผนของทีมนี้ค่ะไม่ค่อยสนใจเท่าไหร่เพราะว่าดีไลท์เนี่ยแพรเห็นมาหลายปีแล้วดีไลท์เนี่ยมาจากนิสิตที่เรียนอยู่ที่สแตนฟอร์ดนะคะซึ่งก็พัฒนามาได้หลายปีแล้วเหมือนกันซึ่งคำถามแรกที่แพรมีเลยคือแล้ววิกัสจะเอาดีไลท์ของเด็กสแตนฟอร์ดมาทำอะไรที่อินเดียนะคะแล้วก็จาก presentation เขาเนี่ยคือไม่เห็นภาพที่ชัดเจนคือได้